So today I really want to give you instructions on IRS Form 1099 MISC, how to fill out a 1099 when you employ independent contractors. Welcome back, folks, to another edition of the Awesome Studio Kiwi Show. How are you today? I hope you are doing fantastic. I'm doing marvelous, if you were to ask me. If you are doing as terrific as I am, go grab a cup of coffee or tea or vodka and let's roll. In today's convo, I want to talk to you about IRS Form 1099 MISC. How do you actually fill out this form when you employ independent contractors? Now, the cool thing here is that the year 2020 has brought a lot of new changes, and we expect those changes to go into 2021 and 2022, especially for business owners and individuals alike. So one major change that we have seen is a redesigned Form 1099 MISC, thanks to the comeback of Form 1099 NEC. We've covered the 1099 NEC form on another show. So what I want to do here is that I want to talk to you first about Form 1099 MISC. I want to give you an overview. So Form 1099 MISC, miscellaneous income, is an information return businesses use to report payments and miscellaneous income. Very simple, right? Now, you want to file as a small business owner or a self-employed. You want to file Form 1099 MISC for each person you have given the following types of payments in the course of your business during the tax year. At least $10 in royalties or broker payments in lieu of dividends or tax-exempt interest, or at least $600 in the following. So you have rents, prizes and awards, other income payments, cash from a notional principal contract to an individual, a partnership or an estate, any fishing boat proceeds, medical and health care payments, crop insurance proceeds, payments to an attorney, Section 409A deferrals. We covered that on another show also, 409A. And non-qualified deferred compensation. And also you want to file Form 1099 MISC for each person you withheld federal income tax from under the backup withholding rules, and regardless of the payment amount. One thing I want to say here is that as of the tax year 2020, do not use Form 1099 MISC to report contractor payments. This is where Form 1099 NEC comes in. And we've covered that again on another show. And as always, do not use a 1099 for W-2 employees. So if you fill out Form 1099 MISC, you also need to complete and send a copy of Form 1096 to the IRS. And this form, the 1096, is a complementary form. And it's basically a summary form of all the Forms 1099 you file. So you're just showing the total amount of miscellaneous income you pay throughout the year on Form 1096. So you can't really talk about Form 1099 MISC without talking about independent contractor. Now let's have an overview of the IRS definition of an independent contractor. So this is a temporary worker who provides goods or services to another company under specified terms outlined in a contract, like an independent contractor agreement. And the contractor can be an individual worker, a company, or a corporation. So a lot of folks, they just misunderstand when people talk about independent contractor. It doesn't have to be a person. It can be a company as well. And an independent contractor is self-employed and typically is compensated on a per project basis. And his or her employers are not responsible for withholding taxes from his or her pay. So instead of receiving a Form W-2 like traditional workers, independent contractors must report the self-employment income information they receive on a form called 1099. Now, this makes Schedule C part of their filing process as well. All right, so they take the 1099 and they put the info in there on their Schedule C. So because really employers don't have to withhold federal income taxes, state taxes, unemployment taxes, Social Security, or Medicare taxes for independent contractors, it can be significantly cheaper to hire a freelancer rather than a full-time employee, right? That's where the juice is, if you will. But this tax restrictions make it vital for businesses to correctly classify their workers as either contractors or employees, because misclassification can lead to very hefty IRS fines and penalties. So this is very important, right? And now, what are the employer's gains when hiring an independent contractor? The perks are pretty blatant. They're flexible. The independent contractors are flexible. They're cheaper than W-2 employees and ideal for short-term or one-off projects. The lack of any employment tax makes them especially appealing to small business owners. But are there any perks for the independent contractor in this relationship? Yes or no, really depends. Okay. And so let's talk about the cons of employing independent contractors. Basically, a big downside here is that the independent contractor is technically his or her own business, and as a result, has to pay self-employment tax on top of all the other taxes employers typically pay. The other big and more obvious downside is that an independent contractor has to figure out his or her own estimated tax payments, and this can be a little tricky, but it's not impossible if finances are carefully monitored. Now, what are the perks for independent contractors? Are they really losing in this sort of legal construct? Not really. An independent contractor will have larger income payments than equally paid W-2 counterparts. This is on account of no taxes being taken out, of course, right? And this frees them up to invest more aggressively with their funds if they feel so inclined. And we've seen in our research that in some cases, independent contractors may be looking to launch their own small business, making this quick cash appealing. While independent contractors are treated as business owners and have to pay self-employment tax, the thing is that this same sole proprietor status means that many things can be written off as business expenses. And I'm talking about things like equipment purchased for work, utilities used for work, and even transportation required. And this does make the year receipt gathering a bit of a mess, however. Another thing I want to say here is that because health insurance is not a benefit generally offered to independent contractors by an employer, there is also the independent contractor also is more likely to shop for insurance on the market. Now, this option is available to W-2 workers as well, but the temptation of taking company insurance often wins out, meaning they may miss out of potentially smaller healthcare payments. And another thing I want to talk about here is, and this is a massive perk, despite needing to pay close attention to, let's say, detail during the tax year and meet numerous reporting requirements, you have, as an independent contractor, you have freedom, right? Because every year that an independent contractor receives 1099s is another year they were free to pursue miscellaneous income from other outlets, build a personal brand, travel around the world, travel around the United States, and do many, many, many other things, right? So this is something you have to think about. And as an independent contractor, it's also likely you have itemized deductions. So you want to maybe think about the best way to not only claim all the deductions you are entitled to, but also the credits that you are entitled to. There's things like child tax credits, all the education credits, and so on and so forth. Now let's quickly compare and contrast Form 1099 MISC versus Form 1099 NEC. I spoke about that earlier. The thing is that in the past, up until tax year 2020, businesses had to use Form 1099 MISC to report independent contractor payment in addition to the other types of miscellaneous income. And so the thing here is that in 2020, however, the IRS brought back Form 1099 NEC. NEC stands for non-employee compensation. And this form is used to report non-employee compensation. The name says it, right? So business owners used to report non-employee compensation on Form 1099 NEC until 1982. So what is it? What is that form? It is solely used to report independent contractor payment. So starting in 2020, you got to use that. So non-employee compensation typically includes the following payment types to independent contractors. So you have fees, commissions, prizes, awards, and other forms of compensation for services. So unlike previous years, do not use, if you're an employer out there, do not use Form 1099 MISC to report non-employee compensation. Instead, you want to use Form 1099 NEC. And according to the IRS, you must file Form 1099 NEC if you paid $600 or more in services performed by someone who is not your employee, or cash payments for fish or other aquatic life you purchased from anyone engaged in the trade or business of catching fish, or payments to an attorney. So those are the three scenarios where the IRS wants you to file Form 1099 NEC. And Form 1099 NEC is not a replacement for Form 1099 MISC. Very important to remember that. Form 1099 NEC only replaces the use of Form 1099 MISC for reporting independent contractor payments. So you may need to file both forms, 1099 MISC and 1099 NEC. I'll be right back right after this. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, folks, to another section of the Awesome Security Kiwi Show. We are still having a conversation here about Form 1099 MISC, and I'm giving you line-by-line instructions. But before you file the form, before you fill out the form, here is a checklist you have to remember. This is very critical. First, I'm going to give you there are 6 steps that you have to really pay attention to. First, you want to check your work. Second, you want to get your 1099s. Third, you want to fill out the forms. Fourth, you want to send out the forms. Fifth, you want to mail Form 1096 to the IRS. And 7, you want to keep a record of your filing. Let's just go a little deeper here. So before you start the 1099 process, make sure you have all the correct information on your contractors and vendors. And you should have already filled out a filled out Form W-9 for each vendor, which includes their name, address, and social security number, or EIN, right? So the W-9 will also include their tax filing status, so you can check to see if you need to issue a 1099 for that vendor. Very important. And so it's a good idea to check with each contractor to see if any info has changed prior to starting the 1099 process. And if the contractor has not provided a W-9 or has omitted specific information, the IRS says that you can withhold legally 28% of the contractor's pay and send this directly to the IRS. And this is what in fiscal jargon, this is referred to as backup withholding. So you got to get your 1099s. Very important. You can actually you can get to the the thing is, you cannot download Form 1099 MISC or a sample from the IRS. If you're filing on paper, you are required to use specific forms that are readable by the IRS scanner used to process all 1099s. So you can order these forms from the IRS by calling 1-800-TAX-FORM. That's 1-800-829-3676. And you can go to also their website. So once you have the forms, you can fill them out. It's pretty straightforward. I will show you right now very quickly. And you send out the form. So the next, you must mail or hand each 1099 copy B to the contractor no later than February 1st. So failure to meet that deadline can lead to the IRS penalty fees. And this can be very hefty. And make sure to keep copy C for your own records in case there are questions regarding the information provided to the IRS. Next, you have to gather relevant information before filling out Form 1099 MISC. So you need to gather some information, and you should have the following on hand to fill out the 1099 MISC form. So that the payers, that's you, right? In this case, the payer's name, address, and phone number, your TIN, your TIN, your taxpayer identification number, the recipient's TIN, the recipient's name and address, your account number if applicable, and the amount you paid to the recipients in the tax year. And how do you actually fill out Form 1099? Let me give you the line-by-line instructions. Very important. So you can see here that so you have you have the rent. So you want to enter an amount of $600 or more for all types of rent. You can see on the screen here. We have on the screen right now the 1099 MISC. This is how it looks like. And basically, this is the copy C is for you, copy C for payer. So box 2, you have royalties. So you want to enter gross royalty amounts or payments or similar amounts of $10 or more. Box 3, you have other income. So again, here you want to enter other income of $600 or more required to be reported on Form 1099 MISC that is not reportable in one of the other boxes on the form. Number 4, federal income tax withheld. Number 5, here you have a fishing boat proceeds if applicable to you. You have to, so basically you want to enter the individual's share of all proceeds from the sale of a catch or the fair market value of a distribution in kind to each crew member of fishing boats with normally fewer than 10 crew members. Number 6, box 6, you have a medical and healthcare payments. Again, it has to be more than $600. 7, you have payer made direct sales of $5,000 or more of consumer products to a buyer. In other words, recipient for resale. Here you want to enter X. You want to enter X if this checkbox applies to you. Don't enter a dollar amount in box 7. 8, you want to hear what it says, substitute payment in lieu of dividends or interest. You want to enter the aggregate payments of at least $10 of a substitute payment received by a broker for a customer in lieu of dividends or tax exempt interest as a result of a loan of a customer securities. Number 9, you have crop insurance proceeds. Again, $600 or more. 10, gross proceeds paid to an attorney. 11, you want to leave box 11 blank. Section 409A deferrals, you're not required to complete this box. And 12, you have excess golden parachute payments. You want to enter if this is applicable to you. Box 15 to 17, state information. So this boxes may be used by payers who participate in the combined federal state filing program and or who are required to file paper copies of this form with the State Department. All right, so this is all you have. So let's talk about sending Form 1099 MISC. So once you fill out the form, you need to know where to send it, right? You might have noticed that there are several copies for each Form 1099 MISC, and certain copies go to the 1099 recipient, the IRS, and the State Tax Department, and some copies are for your records. So let me just show you now where you send what you need to send each part of Form 1099. So copy A, as you can see on the screen right now, the copy A goes to the IRS. Copy 1, it goes to the State Tax Department. You can see each form on the screen right now. Copy B goes to the recipient. This is the form the recipient has to receive by February 1st. Copy 2, you need to file this with the recipient's state income tax return when required. And copy C, this is very critical. This is the one you keep for your records. So now, what is the deadline of filing for filing Form 1099 MISC? With the new Form 1099 NEC being brought into the mix, Form 1099 MISC has a new deadline. So if you plan on using the paper form, you want to file 1099 MISC by March 1st of the year, and this March 1st, 2021. And Form 1099 MISC has a due date of March 31st, 2021. So it's always the form for 1099 MISC. It's always in March of the tax year. And if you file electronically, this is an important thing. If you file electronically, you want to send copy B of Form 1099 MISC to the recipient no later than February 1st. And I've already said that. And this is kind of important because if you want to steer clear of late filing penalties, which can be hefty, you want to file Form 1099 MISC on time. The penalty for missing the deadline ranges from $300 to $100 per form, with a maximum fine of $500,000 per year. Okay, we're not talking about small amounts here. We're talking about even if the $30 to $100 range sounds small, this is per form. So if you have several 1099 forms that you haven't sent out, you can do the math, just multiply. So if a company completely disregards the requirements to provide a correct statement, it could be hit with a penalty of $250 per form with no maximum. So the rules are pretty clear here. All right, folks, this was a short convo about IRS Form 1099 MISC. I'll give you a line-by-line instructions, and I just want to quickly do a recap here. So I first give you an overview of the Form 1099 MISC, And then I just explained to you the IRS definition of an independent contractor, Form 1099 MISC versus Form 1099 NEC. And I gave you the checklist for a Form 1099 MISC, and then how you gather all relevant information and how you actually fill out the form step by step, and how you send it to the IRS and the deadlines you have to abide by when it comes to Form 1099 MISC. I'll see you next time. Thank you so much for your attention. Until next, remember, stay marvelous.